sorting out my last coffee. But yeah, I hope everyone is well. Let's wait to see if we're live. Dave, are we live?
Yes, always. Are you
I
checking on the mobile telephone?
do. I do like to check on the mobile telephone, yeah, to see who is here on this wonderful Tuesday. Let's wait for people to arrive. Nope, that's the wrong page.
Which one's going to be first?
Laura or Sophie? Sophie Hurst. Wow,
Sophie
Sophie.
Hurst is
On it.
first. Sophie Hurst is first. I'm a poet,
That's
and
poetic.
I didn't even know it.
Good stuff. Well, at least we're live, Sophie. Well, thanks for joining us. And Marky V, I hope all is well. Good to see you. Hope. Where are you at the moment, mate? You in country, abroad? Saying that goes for you, Sophie, because
I think he was skiing
You
the
travel
other
a
day.
lot. Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was shredding the gnar down some fresh pow.
Is that slang? Ski slang?
Ski slang, yeah. Shredding the gnar is like
God,
a
mate,
gnarly
you've
run.
gone full ski, haven't you? The
Oh,
last
mate,
3
I know
months?
what I'm on about when it comes to these skiing terms. If you can't ski, learn the lingo.
Okay, that's true. That is very true. So we got Abby, we got Laura, we got Steve, Richard, Chris Collins, Sup. We got the designated rock carrier, of course, Jerome, and we got Zach on his day off, and he can't help but
Zach,
look at the live. Shredding was awesome. Well done, Mark. Well done, mate. Well, no, it's great to have everyone on today. I'm sure we'll have a few people join us, and I don't know why I walked into the office and just something appeared on the board, Dave.
I have no
and we
idea.
thought, right, well, I'll leave it there. Uh, especially that we've been wanting to look at this trip and get this trip running for a very long time.
Which trip?
That trip.
Do we give out like a prize for whoever guesses what we're going to be launching today?
I think everyone would win that prize today.
Yeah.
But go ahead, guys. Yeah, because we're talking about circular routes. No, we wanted to look at some of the routes that we we already do, the circular routes. But obviously, with obvious plug there, Dave, head aside.
Head aside.
There's Three Peaks. We're doing
Yep.
the Three Peaks trip, are we?
Yeah, exactly. That's so you've got the biggest in the middle. That's Penavan, Corndy.
Is that what it is? I thought one looks like Ben Nevis a bit, doesn't it? But no. All jokes aside, we're very excited. Obviously, going to be talking about Tour de Mont Blanc today, which is a trip we wanted to launch for some time. We finally got the itinerary kind of nailed down. But yeah, we're very, very excited. Yeah, we're going to be going out there this year and kind of making sure it's all good before the first trip dates that we've got for 2024.
Yep.
There will be more dates coming out, but we're doing it kind of because of the types of trips, and especially in Europe. I think one thing we've learned, we're doing all of our trips in Nepal, in South America, in Tanzania, Morocco. It's very different actually to the trips in Europe in terms of the logistics, Dave, isn't it? And so it has taken us a little bit longer. So thanks to everyone for bearing with us, who's been interested in Tour de Mont Blanc. We got quite a big waiting list, which was great. But yeah, we're really excited, and this is the first of many this year, so very exciting. Yeah, but now it's there. We will go into that. And I feel bad talking about Tour de Mont Blanc, but we're going to go and actually talk about something else first.
Do you know what I think we should do?
Okay.
You should get like a velvet curtain, that hides it, and then we can like do a reveal
for the whiteboard.
For the whiteboard, yeah.
Wow,
a little velvet curtain, and we can do reveals.
That'll be good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mic cutting in and out, Steve. Hopefully.
Hopefully you're the speakers are okay there, Steve, because it's definitely not us.
Well, hopefully, I don't know, but Tom, how you doing, mate? Tom, yeah, first Tuesday off in 3 years, and you're joining us. Well done, Tom. I hope life is treating you well, mate.
That's the waiting list to join the Tuesday tune-in. That is, that
it took 3 years, right?
3 years to join,
wow,
which is ironic because that's how long ago we started.
Yeah, that is interesting. It is actually, isn't it? It's been 3 years since obviously the Tuesday tune-in, but also since we started to actually plan Tour de Mont Blanc.
It's been a while. It's been a while in the making.
It feels like 3 years anyway.
Yeah, it does, and I think this is our 141st
episode.
What,
on the Tuesday tune-in?
The Tuesday tune-in,
which we actually started.
141 hours. Imagine if I spent that time in the gym.
Wow, yeah, imagine. But no, it's great. Great to have everyone on. And Jerome, are the Mont Blanc details on your website? Yes, they are. Now we've kind of what we're going to do after the Tuesday tune-in is actually drop everyone an email as well, put it in the EverTrekkers group. We did have we did send a couple of details out yesterday for everyone who's in the summit zone, because they do get exclusive first access for our trip, for our new trip. So yeah, they did have the offer of that first, and then obviously we're open up to the wider community. So yeah, we'll be doing that this afternoon, and obviously we'll be putting the link on in here as well. But
just want to point out, Laura Collins has just turned up at 12:36.
Wow, Laura, what happened to the alarm?
What level of tardiness do you call that? I mean, she set herself up at such a high standard, you know.
Well, because she was first every time.
She was first every time, the first international buff winner.
That's right, she was. She was. So does that mean Sophie gets a buff then today?
Well, you have to now, don't you,
Dave?
So whoever's listening, can they remind me to send Sophie a buff?
Write it down.
Yeah, actually, Sophie, can you email in? And
she's like, I have to email in.
Yeah, that's the rules. You have to email in, and then we'll send a buff. Yeah.
Well, Laura, I'm looking forward to seeing that buff. I remember that when she won a while back now, but it was great.
Yeah.
Yay! So Sophie's happy. She's happy days. Yeah. Great stuff. Right, but we're going to kind of sideswipe a bit, because I do want to talk about the circular routes. Now, obviously, there had to be a little link to Tour de Mont Blanc. We couldn't just go straight in with Tour de Mont Blanc. And with the circular routes and the circular trips that we do, they are really popular. And you look at our most popular trips. You're looking at Everest Base Camp, which is especially the classic route, which is essentially up and back. But the circular routes tend to be a bit more challenging, don't they? Thinking about it, you think of the three passes route. We think of Gokyo Valley, which is a circular route.
Yep.
We think of the 8-day Toubkal trek, which is probably less challenging than the Weekender based on physicality, but you go over some decent altitude.
Annapurna circuit.
The Annapurna circuit, some great routes. Okay, in Bracken.
Training weekend.
Is that okay? That qualifies, does it?
Hey, let me tell you, I've done some tough days up there.
Yeah, it's been tough, isn't it? But circular routes do tend to be a bit longer, a bit more challenging. So they're not for the faint-hearted. But if you're on the Tuesday tune in, you're in the right place. But with circular routes, it certainly takes a bit more planning as well, because essentially you're not retracing your steps. You're following a kind of an itinerary or a route that kind of goes off to some remote region and then back a different way. And we've kind of looked at the altitude profiles, and especially if you're thinking about the three passes route, Dave.
Yeah.
It's probably the hardest route we do in the Everest region.
I think so, yeah. Well, it is definitely the hardest trek that we do, short of climbing a peak and including a high mountain. Because you spend such a prolonged time above like 4,000 meters that it does start to take its toll. So pretty much when you get to Dingboche, you're not going to go below sort of 4,000 meters for a very, very long time.
Yeah, that's true.
Where on the Everest region, you've got a few more days until you tag base camp and come back.
Yeah.
Also, you've got those high passes as well. Each one of those is an incredible challenge. But what I love about circular routes, and it's one thing that I struggle with when I do, I always say to you when I do EBC, first time I did it, it was fine. And then when I went back and did it a second time, I was like, going back the way I came. You love that, because you get to see what you climbed up in a different way, in a different view, in a different mindset. But some people do struggle with retracing their steps. With a circular route, I don't have a sense of having completed the trek until I've completed the trek.
Yeah, because you've got no choice.
Because
right?
you got no choice. When you start, when you reach base camp, or when you reach the summit of Kili or something like that, there is this, tendency sometimes when people do get to base camp, done it.
Yeah, I suppose that.
But they've still got 3 long days ahead of them.
Pretty long days,
When you're doing any type of circular trek, like whether it be the 3 peaks on Annapurna, base camp's on the journey.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
For me, I don't know why, but it changes my mindset. But you are dead right about the nav. Like if you're doing any type of route back home or anything like that, and you are planning a route, one of the tools I know we use a lot is Fat Maps.
Yeah, I think we'll give a little bit of a plug to Fat Maps, because they're recently joined us actually as a partner.
Yeah.
We've got a great relationship with Fat Maps, who were actually acquired by Strava quite recently. So if any Strava users out there, you'll be seeing Fat Maps more involved, I'm sure, as they kind of integrate it into Strava. But essentially, when we're talking about circular routes, it's always been kind of app I use to find routes, especially if I'm looking in the UK. And there's routes that I think, okay, If I want to do a circular route in Brecon Beacons, I haven't really done before. North Wales, Peak District, Lake District, Scotland. Even down, talking about Dartmoor. If you go to Fat Maps and you can, you can change a little setting there, and it's you can see what other people have done. And it's quite interesting because you can kind of almost grab that and say, right, I'm going to give that a go. And obviously, do your research, make sure that you've got adequate equipment, all that stuff. But Fat Maps is a really good tool to look at those kind of circular routes.
Yeah.
And obviously, it has 3D kind of model as well, so you can see what sort of terrain you're going to go on, and if you're going through valleys or glens, you can kind of see.
We get a free trial.
Where you going? EverTrekkers will do. Yeah, it's still so basically we're kind of in talks at the moment. We'll let everyone know about this, and we'll share it in the group. The EverTrekkers can get a 30-day free trial with.
Did you risk
I know. Typically, I've got a new bracelet, and I have to watch when I put that. So there will be. You get a 30-day free trial with Fat Maps. Give it a go. We'll let everyone know once that is actually live. It's literally in the next several days. So, Rosie has been on to us and said, like, make sure you mention it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned it.
Shout it out otherwise.
No, but it is. It's going to be really good. It's a really good tool, and they're someone I've used a lot.
Yeah.
Of. More so as well. Actually, Marky V will probably know that in the skiing world, and actually Fat Maps is used quite a lot. But in the hiking world, it's kind of coming back a bit now in terms of the kind of routes. So when again we were looking at obviously Mont Blanc, looking at Tour de Mont Blanc, and when we looked at that route and looking at itineraries, we always like to be a bit different, don't we? And essentially, there were a lot of places where you got to skip parts, and also as well, there are a lot of places where you can walk through villages or roads rather than actually trekking. And we thought, well, let's try and minimize that as much as possible. That doesn't mean there aren't areas where you do walk through villages and you do walk, you do get transferred, because it's otherwise it can take a whole month to do the whole of the Tour de Mont Blanc. But actually, with us, we're going to do it across 9 days. So it's actually 8 days trekking, several days full trekking, but on the one day when you arrive, you do trek in the afternoon. So it's got 7.5 days trekking.
Yeah.
Obviously you got the day you leave as well. So it's a 9-day trip, 8 days essentially that you're on the mountain, trekking around through the 3 countries. Dave, any guesses on the flags?
Yeah. So this one I believe that's Wales, Scotland, England.
Wow. To anyone from Wales, Scotland, or England, apologies.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So our route is. I'm really excited to do it as well, because I think most of the routes that you would do the Tour de Mont Blanc on, they start and end in Chamonix, which is an epically popular ski resort town and a hub of mountaineering in the region as well.
Yeah.
But one of the issues with that, and it is a popular tour, is that you do tend to get very busy in that area.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people setting off from the same place at the same time and returning to the same place at the same time.
Yes.
So we actually start ours in a different place in Italy, which, although still popular, isn't as busy as Chamonix. We do pass through Chamonix, but we don't start and end our tour there. We start and end our tour in Italy.
In Courmayeur, a little village called Courmayeur. It's a beautiful little alpine village.
Yeah.
Anyone's ever been to kind of the northern part of Italy, you'll know roughly what it looks like.
Yeah.
To anyone that hasn't, I'm going to be posting the link and also show that link here. There we go. So if you go to that page on our website, you'll see that the Tour de Mont Blanc is all there and live. It's got 2 dates that are available. So I'll leave that in the comments. I will and hide that from the screen, but it is in the comments. Have a little look, just so you can see the actual trip and you get a feel for the itinerary, and obviously some images there. Any questions, obviously you can download the guide as well. Do have a little look on that. And yeah, love to have you on as an EverTrekker in the Alps, which is again it is new for us. And any new trip, especially over the first couple of years, we like to kind of tweak and change, but we feel like we got this one in terms of the itinerary. There are some kind of things that impacted. I think one thing we're learning while putting this trip together is that sometimes the itinerary can change. You're speaking to that team on the ground, but not much compared to what's on there. So if you have a look at that itinerary, and you'll be able to see then the kind of route that goes around Mont Blanc.
Yeah, well, anyone that's been to the Alps and stuff like that knows that, you know, if you can get heavy snowfall, you can get out of season snowfall. So you have to adapt. And the Tour de Mont Blanc is a vast route around the whole Mont Blanc Massif. So there's many different routes we can take, even from day to day. You know, there are harder and slightly easier ones that we can do. So it's great that we've got like built in like tons and tons and tons of options. I have seen someone throwing some shade there at our mountains.
Oh, really?
Yeah, said that they used to teach art and these peaks are terrible.
Who said that?
I think it was Andrew Scott. And
Andrew,
let me tell you,
you're right.
Wow. Rosie's heart will be bleeding right now because she spent 3 long minutes drawing those.
3 long minutes, yeah. She did very well. Not only that, she had to do the flags.
She had to, yeah. Rosie's the one. So it used to be me that used to do like the winner boards and stuff like that. And now Rosie does it, and she's so and she's so happy to do it as
Brilliant. Well. Whilst we're here as well, Zach, our wonderful musical Yeti, has put together a little video, just some bits that we've pulled from Tour de Mont Blanc. I'm going to play it now, so have a little look at it. It shouldn't be too long. I think it's about 15-20 seconds. So I'm going to play it. You won't be able to hear us. Watch the video and enjoy.
Roll the footage.
Let that play out there. That's quite nice music on that.
It's a bit of a long ending, wasn't it?
I thought it was a very dramatic ending on that.
That was very dramatic,
thanks for Zach. I hadn't actually seen that, so that was my first time I'd seen that actually. Since Zach put that those few clips together. But I hope that gives a little intro into the Alps, and you know, the trek is around the heart of the Alps through 3 countries. And it's a toughie, like all of our trips and all of our challenges. You know, none of them are super easy, but that journey is it looks fantastic, doesn't it? And thanks guys. I'll let Zach know.
Andrew changed his mind. He says, looks excellent, and I think he's referring to the peaks.
Oh, do you think he's referring to the peaks?
100%. No need to clarify that. I know that beyond any reasonable doubt. But I am super excited about this one. It's been a long time coming, this Tour de Mont Blanc. I think that it's, well, you know, I've been doing research on it, and you know, we've been visiting the Alps for a while now, and there's so many sort of magnificent facts about it. Like, it is probably one of the world's oldest trekking routes.
It is, isn't it? It's been around for a while. It's definitely iconic, and it's up there with Everest Base Camp, with Kilimanjaro, with Machu Picchu, in terms of, you know, like in the community, there's always the talk about who's doing Tour de Mont Blanc, and excuse me. That's for a reason, isn't it? It's because it's been there for so long, and clearly when there was no tunnel going through Mont Blanc, walking around it and it must have been the only way to get around it at some point. So there's quite a lot of history there.
Exactly, and it's I forgot my second fact was going to be there, because I was just, do you know what you said, tunnel? I remembered a post where they closed it at the minute. Like,
really?
Just for some maintenance. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So we don't go through it anyway. We're okay.
We go around.
Yeah, we
like the long
I think
way,
it's only if you want to drive from Cormier to Chamonix that's
that what it is?
That's been affected. Yeah.
Now they've had to go.
I get so much. My algorithm is so destroyed from like trip research that like any time of the year when I'm building a trip, I only get fed stuff about that region. So
it's true, isn't it? Because it is all encompassing when we're planning trips. But no, really exciting. I think Jerome has a really important question. Do they have Yetis in France?
Well, they do now.
Nice. Good response. Good response, Dave.
Yeah, they do now. I think they're called, are they abominable snowmen? Or is that what they're called in North America?
Sasquatch in North America, right?
Sasquatch in North America. Yeti in
I think they're just called Welsh in Europe, aren't they?
Just called Welsh, yeah.
No, only joking.
But so they do now, loads of them. There's gonna be hordes of them actually. Did we come up with what a collective name for Yetis is?
I don't know. I put it out to the community. What would a collective noun for Yetis be? Any Any ideas? Anyone's brain matter on fire? Just yeah.
I forgot. Jérôme speaks French, doesn't he?
He does.
Le Neige Abominable.
Is that what it is?
I can't speak.
I was going to say our pronunciation of that is
Le Homme de Neige Abominable. Don't know.
Pritesh, Moblog has been on my list for a while. Was considering doing next year. Thanks, guys. Yeah, the 2 dates we have obviously on the website. Don't forget to look at the link. And we're talking about because one of the questions that obviously comes up is what's the best time to go a flurry?
Agreed.
A flurry of Yetis.
That is quality. That is.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's
flurry of Yetis.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Actually, it is. So that might be the actual term.
Amanda, every time Dave wears this T-shirt, it reminds me I must buy one.
Honestly,
Dave, you've had this for a while,
right?
This is popular on the TTI.
I think this is probably nearly 10 years old now, so you might struggle to find one. But it's got holes in it.
It's very nice. I mean,
it's now got pen on it.
Maybe you should sell it.
I don't think anyone would buy it. I think I've wore this so much, like the first stiff breeze, and this will disintegrate like a dry leaf. But no, I like it. I like it. It's it's colourful.
It's a nice rainbow.
I'm standing up for a cause.
Exactly.
I'll be honest, I didn't know that when I bought it. I just bought it because it was colourful, but still happy to rep.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome.
Love it.
A pub full of Yetis. I mean, that's kind of an average Saturday night bride, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's say average. Really good.
Anyway, really good. Brian's just he must be just back from.
I was gonna say he's probably wiping off the volcanic dust from Killy.
Yeah. Well done, Brian. Well done. Another big summit.
Huge congratulations, mate. And I hope you had a good hydration on the way down, especially at the Springlands. But yeah, Brian, it's there, mate. Have a little look at it. I know you're interested in some of those trips. Offer the shirt as a prize, Andy Howie. Dave, I really want this shirt off your back.
I'll be honest, I'd happily do it, but
You're attached.
There's a lot of no, they can like if someone said can I have it, I'd give it to them. But like
okay.
I honestly
be careful with that because you're going to get a request of it.
I genuinely think that the camera is making it look a lot better condition than it is. It's faded and ripped and it's got holes in it.
Yeah, but you know what that says about it? It's been on a journey.
Look at these holes here. Where do they come from? They just arise. Are they moth holes?
I don't really know. After a while.
Look, there's definitely pen on it now. That's from doing that board.
Is that a question mark?
It's kind of a question mark. I was
wow, Dave.
Anyway,
I thought they bought one of the EverTrek t-shirts, but there we are. You can have North Face.
Listen, first person to email me and wants this scabby old t-shirt, they can have it.
Exactly. Lee makes a good point though. The Tour de Mont Blanc. Sorry, my voice this morning. The Tour de Mont Blanc is trekking around it, not ascending it. If anyone's confused, yeah, exactly. Tour de Mont Blanc is. We're talking about circular routes here. We're not talking about the ascent of Mont Blanc. That is on our agenda as well. But the Tour de Mont Blanc is the tour of it as such. If you hopefully
does what it says on the tin.
Paul, did you wear that Glencoe challenge? Paul, how you doing, mate? Good to see you.
It's very possible I did. Yeah, very possible.
I can't remember actually. I thought you would have worn something like
Trekkie.
I mean, not that this isn't. This is more style.
Yeah. Jerome Kafilikov has been around for.
It's still the Kumbu Koff from about 4 years ago, Jerome.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. But it used to be a thing where we do video replies, just a little aside.
Yeah.
When me and Andy were like working together because we used to work like this close to each other.
Back when it was just two of us. Right?
Yeah, and I go, okay, I'm gonna do a video, and I go, hey Jerome, how's it? It's funny.
Yeah, it's the I can't wait for this operation I've got on my nose. I know I was very close. I had a date. I was hoping to get it done Friday.
Yeah.
It looks like it's not far away now.
If you remember it, Paul, then I must have been wearing it.
Paul, that is a good memory.
That is a good memory.
I struggled to remember what he wore yesterday.
T-shirt to remember, but
clearly Paul likes it as well.
Do you know what? I'm pretty certain the Friday before we had some pictures taken. With
evidence.
As evidence.
Shona?
With Shona, yeah, that was it.
Shona and Paula who met us.
If there's one there,
I
will give Paul Shearer the medal for best memory.
Nice.
It's a pretend. It only exists in my words.
Love it. Kumbu Koff, all that dust, basically 10 years of dusty yak poo where you buff. Agreed. Any questions around Tour de Mont Blanc and Kumbu Koff for that matter? Definitely far away because obviously that's what we're here for as well. Just to answer any questions about it. But just Dave, while I sort my throat out,
Yeah, mate, take your time.
best time of year to trek Tour de Mont Blanc.
Well,
Sorry. I'm good. I'm not gonna die anytime
oh, I
soon.
tell you what,
Fingers
Mike,
crossed.
just another little aside. If you ever cough or choke around Andy, it's safer to cut to choke than by choked once. And you went, I get it, Dave. Ah, poof! And I was like,
Well, I didn't want you to die.
no, mate, yeah, you brought up a couple of ribs, I think. But yeah, so best time to go to Mont Blanc, I think probably kind of May to September. Probably the peak time is our summer. It's the summer. Their seasons are pretty much the same as ours.
June to August, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the peak time where you're going to have the best weather. It's
Yes.
one of those where it's not really possible to do all of the tour in like winter, because we were thinking we'd love to get out there in winter.
100%. Yeah.
But
it's closed.
the difficulty is that a lot of the places where we're trekking, they turn into like ski runs. And if you've ever been to a ski resort in the Alps, you realize that the snow is can be waist deep easily. So yeah, it's more of a snowshoeing adventure then. Who knows? Maybe we'll do that now.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? But looking at the logistics, quite tough because a lot of the passes are closed. But yeah, so summertime and Tom makes a good point there. Will it be busy? And actually, we've split the groups. Sorry, split the 2 dates that we've got. Excuse me. The first date in July will be before the summer holidays. So essentially, June and the first 2 or 3 weeks of July tend to be the quietest.
Mm-hmm.
You get the best weather. I mean, it's all changing, right? But, because the weather's evolving, climate's evolving. But generally, the best times are June and the first few weeks of July. They're the quietest.
Yeah.
But the best weather is then the last 2 weeks of July and August. Sometimes into September. Those are I'd say the busiest times, but also you do get the best weather.
Yeah.
So we've got a date in both of those periods. So you want slightly warmer weather, which can change. It's Europe, you know what it's like. Or you can go sort of earlier on the first trip, which both I'm sure will be really popular. And we talk about busy as well. It's very similar to talking about maybe the EBC Trek or Machu Picchu, even Kili. They're all busy at certain times of the day, certain times of the trek because of the type of trails you're going through, like especially Everest Base Camp. The first day or two, you're walking on paths where you can't really go around too much as like one path, and naturally that kind of bottlenecks people. And I think there's parts of that on around the Mont Blanc, the Tour de Mont Blanc, but there's a lot of areas where actually it opens up and you're in the valleys and you've got a bit more space. So yeah, it's not going to be I sometimes use this analogy, and it's not going to be the M25, but it's you'll find your own peace, you find your own quiet. Around those times. But if you do want to, have a little bit more of a quiet time, probably the best time would be the date in July, so June and then into July.
And also starting from my year as well is better for you in terms of this because of Chamonix.
And Chamonix,
being,
exactly.
Being very popular and dense, and there's not just trekkers, there's mountaineers and holiday makers and stuff like that, all in the area at the same time. Going out and starting at a slightly different location means that you do get an opportunity for quieter points along the trek.
Yeah, it stretches out.
If you imagine, anywhere, like you said, Amber, you go where people want to go, you're going to bump into some people. However, I've never found a lot, EBC can run into some criticism about being a bit of a busy trail. That's largely bred, I think, from scenes on the mountain. However, I've never once felt that it's ever impacted my trip or anything like that.
Yeah.
Every time I've been out there, and sure, I've waited, for some people to cross a bridge or go around a narrow corner. But what's the rush? I'm just sitting, I'm relaxing. It's a good opportunity to catch up with the rest of the group, chat to new people. And we've made some fantastic friends and met some real characters that just make your trip. And part 100%. Of what we talk about when we come back sometimes is, oh, do you remember that guy we met in that lodge? He was amazing, and it's just as exciting as the mountain. But equally, there's always a moment on every single trip. Well, there's more than one moment, almost a moment a day or several a day, where you just find yourself on your own. You look ahead, no one behind. Mont Blanc or Everest right there to keep you company, and you just sit down and you have a little think to yourself and think, pretty lucky to be a tiny little speck on this mountain right now on my own,
Deep, Dave, deep. I love it though, mate. Love it. And you're 100% right. On all of these treks in remote regions, because they are remote more, compared to hiking, a lot of the kind of national parks in the UK, which are very privileged and lucky to have, right? But definitely quieter than that. And Tom makes a good point. Waiting also helps with altitude. To be fair,
100% does.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, go
To be
slowly,
fair, definitely.
slow and steady.
With regards to, I know there's a couple of questions here like prices and things like that. What I'll do is I think it's a good time now. So the actual trip price. Let me just get the. I think it's 2,395. So, £2,395 is the trek for obviously the land only stuff. But I'm going to be adding something here as well, which I'll show on the screen, which is a little launch code that we're doing. So TMB 200. So you can get £200 off that if you do book on or pay a deposit before the 30th of March. So any of you interested, use that code. We are following up after this with emails and also some details in the EverTrek group as well. But wanted you guys, obviously on the live, the TMB 200, and you'll get £200 off for booking in, which is great off that trip. So yeah, take £200 off the price I just said. What's that? Which is 2,195. So definitely it's. I won't even mention what the army is me paying. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't forget you can spread out the costs, especially if you go on our trips next year, over the next sort of 14 to 15 months. If you wanted to pay monthly, choose that at checkout, or if you wanted to just, a lot of people are just paying in full and getting their trip paid up. If you do that, again, we'll send more details on email. But if you type in full 150. Because obviously, if you're paying in full, that's great. You will get an additional 150 off. So yeah, it's not bad, eh? That's up until the 30th of March, and we'll be posting those details to email and on the Facebook group.
Magical.
Thought I'd get my blatant promotion in there, guys. whilst we're on.
Should we dive into a couple of cues? We got one here from.
You've had some before. I know they're not necessarily TMB, but any question.
Right. We don't think we've ever really stuck to one topic.
We never have.
141 episodes, and I think we've covered most things.
Yes.
Nigel Hawks, do an EBC next March? Awesome. Silly question, no such thing.
No.
Does
silly.
E stand for Everest? So there's a silly question. No, you didn't ask that. Is there washing?
That's not a silly question.
No. Is there washing facilities en route? Would normally take 14 pairs of boxes for a 2-week holiday, but can't see that being a sensible option. Yeah, Nigel. So basically,
you're only allowed 2.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
And yeah, so generally so when you're talking about a 14-day trip, you're actually trekking for 11 days.
Yeah.
So I usually probably bring about 5 pairs with me for the 11 days. What I recommend you do, don't bring regular cotton boxes and stuff like that. They're absolutely useless for trekking. Yeah. They'll get soaked and saturated with sweat and stinky, and you'll just want to get rid of them. Get something like merino wool boxes or smart wool or something from these brands that we did a whole live, didn't we?
We did.
On undercrackers.
Yeah.
So I honestly highly recommend
knickers.
Yeah, you put a link to that. So maybe those the Yetis can put a link to that live. Maybe can we do something like that?
Yeah, the girls will be able to find it. I think Jodie's on comments.
Or go back. It's not that far. It's within the last 4 we did.
It's a good live.
Yeah, so we talk about a lot, and we had some amazing recommendations about boxes and stuff like that.
Excuse me.
So that's how you solve the boxer problem, by getting boxes that you can use. So I'll have 5 pairs. So wear pair a day, and on day 6 I go back to pair 1 and stuff like that. So it's not that bad. Yeah. Washing facilities, there are some in the lodges, but what we recommend you do is bring something like wet wipes. Usually what I do is I've got like a quite a big Ziploc bag. I'll use wet wipes to have a wash. I'll put them dirty ones in the bag, take them back, and then get rid of them properly. That's generally how you keep clean on the mountain. There is a couple of showers, so like Namshi, maybe Dingboche as well. It's up to you whether you want to kind of use them.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I'll just get by with a bit of a wipe.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's different, and we do get people who bring more, some bring less. It's up to you, but yeah, it's very hard to wash your clothes at altitude, just because, especially during kind of either March into April, especially October into November, because it's quite cold, so they're hard to dry. Although the sun is beating down, and it can work. You do see and you will see on the trek some people with their shorts or pants on the back of their bag drying. But we just recommend, imagine every bit of clothing item as like your, almost like a suit, and you're wearing it, and get comfortable with you. You're going to be a little bit dusty, a little bit dirty, but so is everyone else. So yeah, it's definitely something you get used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, good point, Dave. Good point. I'm gonna I know there's loads of questions. I'm gonna speed ahead because I think a really good question. Where was it from? I think it was Jerome actually. Nearest airport for the Mont Blanc trek is essentially if you fly into Turin, which is so it's in Italy. To obviously the transfer to Courmayeur is where we start. That is the airport. We can make allowances for other airports like Geneva is not a million miles. Milan as well, not a million miles away. But we're going to be using kind of either Milan or Turin, essentially for arrivals and pickups.
I've flown into Turin.
Yeah, I say it's pretty easy, pretty good airport.
Stunning view on arrival into Turin.
Nice.
Absolutely beautiful.
There we go. I think Jodie's put the link there to one about the underwear. So yeah, she got the link to that live. So yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that answered. Sorry, I know we're kind of answering two questions, but yeah, around the airports, Turin or Milan, definitely the ones. But Geneva is a possibility, but it's a little bit far. Definitely closer to go to the other two.
I think Turin is about 150 kilometers.
Yeah.
And Milan, I think, is about 215 kilometers.
Okay, so a little bit.
Geneva about the same again, I think.
Yeah.
Nice. Christine Parker has said, can you recommend any decent insurance companies, as the ones that keep popping up are super expensive? So yeah, insurance, and unfortunately, it's always going to be a little bit costly. We use predominantly a company called True Traveller. There's also another company called Campbell Irvin. There's also another company called Big Cat. Those are the three main ones that kind of spring up a lot. I've got some quotes for some other people with some like pre-existing conditions and things like that from True Traveller, and it's never that expensive. I've recently got them for a couple of skiing holidays, used True Traveller, and I'm lucky enough to actually have a pre-existing condition. It's great.
Or with the knee.
With the knee, yeah. So, and it's always been fairly reasonable. So, but it does depend on your circumstances. But try those, Christine, and hopefully you'll get a decent policy.
Nice. There's a few companies, aren't there? And it's always, I think, unfortunately, because of the, especially with Everest Base Camp, any high altitude trek, they do get expensive. And Marky V makes a good point on there. As you do get older, they do become more expensive, unfortunately. Because I used to get insurance for like £60 from True Traveller, and it's definitely gone up even over the last like several years. But I think these are insurance companies, and these are if you're using Big Cat or using Campbell Irvin or you're using True Traveller, it's just good knowing that it's in place. And it's there, and if you need to get out of Dodge, they're the three that we would use. I mean, obviously there's a lot of companies out there. They're the ones we kind of see in the community that are used a lot, and also as well that we have kind of good relationships with. And obviously we Tim Riley at True Traveller, he's a good friend of ours, and it's always good to kind of gives us updates, and it's always good to kind of hear how things are going, and because it's been challenging for them obviously in the pandemic and post-pandemic, and if we can get it, but if we can get it as cheap as we can, happy days, right? But it can be challenging at the moment, especially with some of these kind of the ancillary stuff around like insurance, flights. They are, unfortunately at the moment, they are quite expensive. But hopefully by in terms of the trip, we can kind of help with some financials if we can maybe offer some money off. But also I think the pay monthly stuff we're finding helps a lot of people kind of manage that money over the time before you go for a trip. So I hope that helps. Nice. What else we got, Dave?
Chris Collins like to do more. Actually, sorry, I've skipped one. Jerome said, "Hi guys, getting serious thought the swapping Toubkal in November for the new Mont Blanc.
Nice.
Would like this to be one of the first. Would like to be one of the first. Yeah, I mean, if you want to
July next year.
July next year. If you want to be one of the first, Jerome, to jump on
13th of July. Lucky for some. It's a Saturday, not a Friday. No, but Jerome, we offer lots of flexibility if you want to jump on that trip. we'd love to have you on there. Myself or Dave are going to be on one of the trips next year. We're not sure which one yet, but definitely you'd love to have you on those trips.
Yeah.
Especially be one of the first ever trekkers to be on there, mate. We'd 100%.
Awesome.
As we hike over, I think the highest we actually go up to as a trek. Obviously, there are cable cars and different things, but the highest you trek is like 2,650 meters. So it's decent. It's kind of strange because that's Phak Ding, which is the lowest point on the Everest Base Camp trek. But it's still challenging. There's still like in one of the days there's like 900 meters, 1,000 meters of ascent.
You fly most of the way up to
suppose
there.
you do,
You know what I mean? So when
Yeah.
when you've got to walk that ascent, that's where the challenge comes in. So Chris Collins said, like to know more about Aconcagua, our ultimate Aconcagua trek.
Yeah, sure.
Will we do a live on that one day? I think we will. Yeah.
We've talked about it over the years, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Well,
it's quite a niche trip.
Yeah.
In terms of it, but yeah, any questions, Chris, about it? Fire away. We can answer them today as well, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we're almost certainly gonna go there.
Well, we're planning to in January.
Yeah,
personally,
so
but
I think
run a few trips there.
Could be something off the back of that to
do a live
on it and something
from
like that.
Aconcagua.
From Aconcagua.
You should do one from Aconcagua. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
I can't wait.
But yeah, Chris, any questions on Aconcagua, mate? Fire away. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
What does Lee ask? I'm just Jerome Lodges or auberges. But yeah, we're going to be using lodges. Some actually, depending on the weather as well, we might be able to stay in the refugios, which is quite cool. So in Italy, they're like refuges, but in Italy they're called refugios. Refuges in France and Switzerland, and then we come back to the refugios. I love that word, refugio, because I remember growing up and thinking, I didn't speak Italian, but if I thought Italian, all I'd add is ios to the end, and I thought that was Italian.
iOS, like
refugios, like it's Italian.
They end in a vowel mostly, don't they?
Do they? Oh, refugio.
Yeah, refugio.
Yeah, I was being plural because there's more than one.
Yeah. It reminds me of Peter Pan. Rufio. But that movie with is it Dustin Hoffman as Hook? Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. I always forget who's Hook.
Good tangent,
yeah, good tangent. Good steer us back on. Jerome again.
Yeah.
I think this is because it's in France. We've sparked his interest.
He's loving it. He's loving it.
Transiting through different countries as British tourists, will we need to present our passports? For most of the time, no. I mean, you're going to have it with you anyway, because this is one of those treks where kind of you arrive and kind of everything kind of goes with you. So you arrive where you need for the trek. So almost certainly no. I mean, if you've ever been on a skiing holiday and you can get a lift over to France and do some skiing there and come back, generally speaking, you can pass freely. I wouldn't want to say 100% no, because you never know what bureaucracy might make it out to the region. But almost certainly no, and for the most part, definitely not.
Nice. Some good comments as well. I'm just reading some there. I think Emily mentioned. Hey Emily, how you doing? Where's Emily's comment? I'm just trying to find it. Yeah, hoping for Aconcagua start 25.
Nice.
100%. We'd love to have you on that trip. Emily, definitely. And it's interesting, because Tom did true travel insurance for EBC in 2022. Only £60.
Amazing.
But that is really good. But for Europe instead of Nepal. So oh no, that's why it was so cheap. I was reading through that thinking £60 until I got to the end. Well, luckily it was all good, right, Tom? Brilliant though. At least you saved a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, I've never got like.
I know. I thought that. I was like, wow.
Well, I went in 2016, and I think I pay about 200 quid now. But I'm getting also. Yeah. I'm on the 4th of May. I'll be in a new age bracket. So I'm sure it'll go up then as well.
Just a number. Marky V, back to circuits on ACT, so the Annapurna Circuit Trek, which is awesome. There's one day when you climb over 1,600 meters. Yeah.
Was that Thoringla?
I believe so. Yeah. Thoringla is a beast. Marky V, what was it like getting over Thoringla? I've not been up to Thoringla myself, but I've heard it's a bit of a beast.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I've heard. Dave, Star Wars, baby.
I am. May the 4th be with you.
Oh yeah, of course.
My brother was born 2 years later on May 5th.
Revenge of the
5th. Yeah, that's how it works. But it's when some days, unfortunately, there's no way around it. We have to do like big altitude ascents. I was
Same as
having this.
Toubkal, isn't it? I mean, we do 1,300 meters in the one day, then 1,000 meters
Yeah,
the next.
I mean,
It's a
if you were to look up what the NHS recommendations are for like altitude gain in a day and stuff like that, no one would ever climb any mountains.
Yeah, because we've read that.
Because I was discussing it with someone like a little while ago, and they were like asking, "How do you get around that?" And I was like, "Well, those are guidelines for normal living.
They're more like guidelines anyway, right?"
You know, exactly.
No, NHS obviously listen to the advice, but altitude's a niche subject.
But those guys, they're guidelines for normal living.
Yeah.
Like climbing mountains is a relatively extreme activity.
Yeah.
Climbing high altitude mountains is a really extreme activity.
Yes.
And the whole point is that we're pitching ourselves physically against the altitude, against the terrain, against the the exertion, and we're going to see if we can pass the test. You know, and that's why some days, unfortunately, there's no way to get from the Toubkal Refuge to the summit of Toubkal without doing about 1,000 meters.
I was going to say that is very true. That is very true.
You know, and
it's interesting when you say it like that. Good question actually from Cameron. When typically the flights from the UK to Kathmandu come out in your experience? Normally it's within 12 months. You can get some that are over. So if you go on any kind of flight comparison website, Skyscanner, Momondo, any of those, Trivago, more for hotels, but for flights as well. It's normally it's about 12 months, and then generally then it kind of decreases and then goes back up. Although over the last couple of years, it's been very hard to kind of guess. It used to be a lot easier to kind of guess or advise when to book flights. Like normally we would say like 6 to 9 months would be kind of the good time to book your flights. Now sometimes it's like, well, get them when you can, because the flight prices have gone up so much. I mean, geez, the first time I went to Everest in 2016, I got a flight to Nepal for £340 return.
Me and Billy,
which is nuts.
360 quid each return.
Yeah.
With Air India, and now you're lucky to get it under £1,000.
Yeah, I'd say
700 to £1,000.
700. It used to be £400 to £700 the average, so it has gone up. And it definitely is challenging at the moment. I think I know we did a live all about flights and also about some of the different ways to kind of maybe save money with flights. If you any people on the Summit Zone, we did a little workshop on that around maybe how to try and do a few things to get to save a few bob on the flights. It's quite hard these days. I think I was doing a live example, didn't exactly work out. But excuse me, I did find cheap flights.
It's the principle.
It's the principle.
But
so shopping around, as Chris said, exactly.
Jimbo Blues, hi, mate.
Hey Jim, how you doing?
I know this doesn't look at me. 40 in a couple of months.
But Jim is just back from Toubkal.
He is just back from Toubkal.
Love the summit pictures as well.
Fun day Toubkal is.
How was it, Jim? How was it? Let us know how you felt on the summit. And it's brutal on the top, isn't it? It's quite on the way up. It's quite steep as you go through the kind of the valley.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave. I'm bringing up bad memories.
No, I love Toubkal. Actually, Toubkal round 1. I'll be honest with you. If I could have teleported off the mountain to a beach somewhere, I would have done it like that. But Toubkal round 2, even though it was a real ass kicker in terms of the weather and stuff like that, had an absolutely amazing time. I'm doing it again.
What, Toubkal?
Do you want to come?
I'm busy then.
In the Christmas
No,
break.
I love Morocco.
A couple of mates hit me up recently, and they want to go and do
it in
December.
Could be a good idea. If I'm not in Nepal, mate, I'll
but I was thinking, going out there with my mates, they go up to Toubkal, we can do the neighbouring peaks.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I've already hit the summit, so
don't tease me, Dave. I could do that.
Yeah.
Andy Howie, 2017. I paid $420 just booked for KTM. November, £800. I know. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Amanda, fall in love with the Atlas Mountains. Yeah, it's such a beautiful spot, isn't it?
People are amazing as well.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Marrakesh.
Yeah,
but I loved Imlil. I know it's not a huge amount there, but there was something about getting in a car in Marrakesh,
peaceful,
leaving, and then when you get out at Imlil at the lodge, it's the only once before have I noticed a difference in air quality. And that was when we went to Pokhara that one time.
That's true. Yeah.
From Kathmandu, and I had the same thing. I got off, it was quiet, it was peaceful, and the air was so clean that I was like, I might just come straight to him next time. I love him. Also, Jerome, that's got to be like he said, a summit of Yetis. That's been cooking.
I was going to say
for 20 minutes or more.
20 minutes, more like 40.
Yeah. These CTIs go quick.
They do fly by, but no, it's been great though, chatting about different things around circular routes. I know we've kind of given Tour de Mont Blanc, TMB as we're going to call it, a lot of screen time, but it is something we're really excited about, and it's definitely going to go alongside the 3 passes. It's going to go alongside some of the other circular trips that we do, because it's it is going to be a great route. So have a little look. Again, I will put this in the comments again, just because I can't help but share it.
I mean, another one with the circular route. Someone's mentioned the 8-day Toupcal. If you want to really experience the Atlas Mountains, 8-day Toupcal, and you get to climb a second peak after the summit day where you see like a plane wreckage. Amazing.
Yeah, and it's depending on the weather, because it can be. I mean, that's the thing with the Atlas Mountains. It can be sunny, but it can be brutal. I think you experienced a couple of different.
I will never go back in the summer. Yeah. If I go to Morocco in the summer, I'm telling you, I'm going like to a resort. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
A resort, brilliant. Jim, great trek, hard and enjoyable. Yeah, two very, very accurate words there, mate.
Yeah.
Great guide, brilliant group of EverTrekkers, plenty of space in the refuge. 13 in your room. Wow, that's cozy.
Mate, when we went with Jen, it was like probably 25.
Really?
Like the lodge.
Quite lucky when I was there. I think we only had like 8 of us in the room.
When we were there.
Yeah.
The first time. Oh yeah, I was like, were you there the second time?
You were there in spirit when you were.
I am very nearly a spirit. I was like, there's a picture of me in my sleeping bag, just like.
Diane's like, "Hey Diane, how you doing? Welcome back from your trip." Trying to put me off, Dave.
No. Honest, always honest. I mean, I just assume that every one of you, like, if I was talking about a trip and I said, "Oh yeah, it's easy, it's lovely," you'd be uninterested.
That's
and
true.
Then
actually,
if I said, "Oh yeah, this trip's amazing, nearly killed me," the first thing you'd all do is sign up.
Good question, actually. But Emily, whilst here, what was the replacement mountain on the summits of EverTrek if Cotopaxi still erupted? Yeah, it's a good question. We've been chatting about Ecuador quite a bit because there's been. We saw, unfortunately, there was an earthquake over there. Luckily, it didn't impact the region that we kind of operate in, but anywhere there's a loss of life is sad, right? But yeah, you're looking at Cayambe. Cayambe is the other peak that if Cotopaxi is erupting, we'll do Cayambe.
Yeah.
It's around about similar height.
Bigger? Is it bigger? I'm not sure.
No, it's a similar kind of height. I think it's just under 6,000 meters.
Yeah, it's a beast.
So it's essentially another Kili in terms of size. But Cayambe is also glacial. It's got a lot of snow, it's snow-capped. So it's very similar to Cotopaxi. I know Cotopaxi gets a lot of, a kind of, it's famous because it's active, but Cayambe is just as challenging, if not more.
It's too hot
because of the wind.
Cotopaxi, won't they? I mean,
pyroclastic
flows.
I was going to say, you've got to, and this is the thing where we're running trips to certain mountains or volcanoes. They're living things, especially volcanoes, and we have to be
you wouldn't be
flexible.
Lahafin if you went up there now.
Wow, mate,
that's niche, isn't it?
That's good. Strong.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I do like it.
Yeah.
No, it's just good geography knowledge.
Mate, I know about volcanoes.
I know. Yeah, that's fine.
The only thing I know about volcanoes, and pyroclastics and stuff like that. But I'm useless at other geographical geography.
Mate, I'm really impressed. We're going to have to do a geography quiz.
You're but Andy's like he's like Rain Man when it comes to geography.
Mount Chimborazo, Lee, you are right. Ecuador is home to the mountain closest to space. It is because you're on the equator, not far from the equator, obviously in Ecuador. And Mount Chimborazo is the one that is closest to the space or the line that that is around us.
It differentiates, I think, doesn't it? I don't think you'll see the space station be like,
wow, that is funny.
Do you know what? Funny. Funny enough, I got another tangent recently. So driving around Newport, and I saw a bright star, and then like right next to it, like at that sort of angle, another bright star. No other stars in the sky. It was doing my nutting for days, and then I was like, why is it no like?
I had a look.
Jupiter and Venus.
Jupiter and Venus, yeah.
I knew something was up.
Someone asked me, and I got my I use an app called Stellarium. It's really good. If anyone's into their astro stuff, likes to look at the stars, Stellarium is really good. You can get a free app, paid version, and yeah, you can kind of look around and see what's around.
You got me on loads of weird apps. You have. What's that one where you take pictures of leaves and flowers and it?
Oh yeah, it's really good. That is. Well, you know,
Picture This, is it called?
Picture This, I think. Is it called Picture This?
Yeah.
Picture This.
Anyway, Picture This and Stellarium, two great apps. You got me to download the Stellarium, believe it or not, on after Killy because I was so jealous that you guys were looking up at the sky and I was looking at you over. But I looked them up. Yeah, it was Jupiter and Venus. And I was like, I knew something.
Tour the solar system. Lee photo pills, one I use a lot. Yeah, very, very good if you're into your photography, especially the astro stuff.
Photo pills.
It's really good for planning areas where you can do certain shots.
Emily Kiddel's a second-year astrophysics student. I like to think I know what listen, I don't know much.
Been on Google a bit, have you?
I know a little bit about the astrophysics.
Emily, awesome. It's glad that we got some intelligent EverTrekkers and Yetis, obviously. Tour the solar system. Yeah, well, we want to go to was it Olympus Mons on Mars, the largest mountain in our solar system? Mm-hmm. That would be a trek and a half.
Yeah.
But no, these apps that we're talking about though do enrich, because you imagine you want to trek, let's say around the Alps, Tour de Mont Blanc, and you see some leaves or plants, and you want to find out the name, and you can use Picture This, and next thing you know what you're looking at. Same as in the sky, if you're looking at stars, oh my god, the Milky Way, and you've got some constellations, and you've got an app that shows you what they are. I think these enrich your experience.
I 100% agree.
You know,
I 100% agree.
Definitely.
I almost want to go to a quiz with Emily because
Emily, you could definitely come to one of our quizzes. That would be great.
I see myself as knowing about space.
Okay. Well, so you want to kind of challenge?
I want to challenge myself against. I don't think I'd win.
I'm going to say,
but I want to earn Emily's respect.
Okay. Watch that space.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that was off the back of what Tom said.
Oh, just give it.
Sorry.
Well done, Tom.
I wasn't going to steal that.
Yeah.
I swiped it.
Yeah.
Right, we're almost at the end. Sorry, we've kind of divulged into completely different.
Anyway, Tour de Mont Blanc is brilliant, and I highly recommend you all get on it.
Yeah. No, I hope today's been useful in some way, and check out Tour de Mont Blanc. Any questions about it, do let us know. Obviously, we're back next week with a different kind of Tuesday tune-in. But yeah, we're really excited. Obviously, running Tour de Mont Blanc. As I mentioned, do use the code TMB200 if you're looking to book, which I will again bring up on the screen there. That's the code you can use at checkout. You get £200 off. I will send the details by email and also on the Facebook group. But I hope today has been useful. Yeah, Dave, any final thoughts, mate?
I got the question right when we were on holiday recently about the hottest planet in the solar system. Everyone else said Mercury. It's not. It's Venus.
It's Venus. Yeah. Are you going against? Is that against Emily again?
Not against Emily.
Okay.
I want to learn. I want to earn Emily's respect.
But she said you guys already have it for totally changing my life. Ah, that's nice.
Oh, shucks.
Well, I got tissues over there, mate.
Yeah, honestly. Well, no, great one. Yeah, no, honestly, really excited about the Tour de Mont Blanc. We have been cooking that bad boy for a long time.
Yes.
And it would be, it's fantastic to finally get it launched and get you guys out there. You're going to love it.
Definitely. Well, yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. It's been a great Tuesday tune-in. Have a wonderful week wherever you're up to. And we'll see you next week.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.